Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a huge topic for anyone building a product, a service, or a business. The voice of the customer, or VOC. Now, we've all been told, listen to your customers. It's the golden rule, right? You set up surveys, you read every single review, you reply to support tickets, you're listening. But here's the tough question. If you're listening so hard, why aren't your key metrics improving? Why does churn stay the same, or even go up? Why are users still complaining about the same old things? The hard truth is that listening to your customers is not enough. In fact, if all you do is passively listen, you might even be led in the wrong direction. Today, we're going to break down why listening alone fails and, more importantly, what you need to do instead to turn that customer feedback into real, measurable results. So let's start with the core problem. Listening is reactive. When a customer gives you feedback, they're almost always describing an experience that has already happened. They're telling you how they felt, but they rarely know or can articulate the root cause of their frustration. Think about it. Have you ever gotten a support ticket that just says, "Your app is too confusing"? That's a feeling, not a diagnosis. It doesn't tell you where they got stuck or what specific part of the user interface was unclear. This leads to some major pitfalls. First, there's what we call the silent majority. The truth is, for every one customer who takes the time to write a review or submit a ticket, there are hundreds, maybe thousands, who don't. They just silently struggle, get frustrated, and leave. The people who do speak up often represent the extremes. They either superfans or they incredibly angry. Relying only on their feedback means you're making decisions based on a tiny, biased fraction of your user base. You're completely missing the story of the quiet, average users who make up the bulk of your business. Another huge problem is solution bias. Customers are experts in their own problems, but not necessarily in solving them for everyone. They'll often suggest a very specific fix, like "you should add this button here," or "I want a feature that does exactly this." These suggestions are born from their own unique context and workflow. If you just build what they ask for, you end up with a product full of niche features that do you and scale, and might even make the experience worse for everyone else. You're treating the symptom, not the underlying disease. So, you've got noisy feedback, you're missing the silent majority, and you're getting biased solutions instead of clear problems. It's no wonder so many teams feel like they're running in circles, trying to please everyone and satisfying no one. They get trapped in a cycle of anecdote-driven development, where the loudest voice in the room, the most recent angry email dictates the roadmap. This is a recipe for failure. So how do we fix this? How do we move from just passively listening to proactively understanding and acting? The key is to treat customer feedback not as a set of instructions, but as a starting point for investigation. You need to become a detective. Your job is to take these clues, the feedback, the comments, the reviews, and dig deeper to find the real story. And this is where we need to pair our listening with other high-impact methods. Let's talk about 3 of the most effective ones. First up is behavioral analytics. This is your secret weapon for understanding the silent majority. While a customer might say your app is confusing, your analytics can show you precisely where they're dropping off. You can look at your user funnels and see that, say, 60% of new users abandon the onboarding process at step 3. Now you have a specific, actionable problem to investigate. Feedback told you the feeling confusion. Data told you the location onboarding step 3. You can see how powerful this combination is. You're no longer guessing. You're using real user behavior to validate or debunk what you're hearing. The second method is qualitative synthesis and coding. This sounds complex, but it's actually quite straightforward. Instead of looking at feedback one comment at a time, you need to look at it all together. You gather all your feedback from support tickets, App Store reviews, social media, user interviews, and you start grouping it into themes. This is called coding. You might create tags like login issues, pricing confusion, or feature request. Export. Once you've coded your feedback, you can start to quantify it. How many people mentioned login issues this month? Is the theme of pricing confusion growing or shrinking over time? You can even score these themes by frequency and urgency to figure out what's truly the biggest fire you need to put out. This process transforms a mountain of random comments into a prioritized list of problems. It moves you away from reacting to the latest complaint and towards strategically addressing the most common and painful issues your users face. The third and final method is running rapid experiments. Once you've used analytics and qualitative coding to identify and prioritize a core problem, the next step isn't to spend 6 months building a massive solution. The next step is to form a hypothesis and test it. Let's go back to our onboarding example. The problem is that users drop off at step 3. Your hypothesis might be, if we simplify the language on step 3 and add a short tutorial video, we will reduce the drop-off rate by 20%. Now you have something you can test. You can design a small, fast experiment. Maybe you use an A/B test to show the new version to 50% of your users and the old version to the other 50%. You define your success metric in this case, the drop-off rate, and you run the experiment for a week or 2. After the experiment, you look at the results. Did the change work? If yes, great. you can roll it out to everyone. If not, no problem. Because you only invested a small amount of time, you can quickly pivot and try another hypothesis. This cycle of building, measuring, and learning is the engine that drives real product improvement. It ensures you're making decisions based on evidence, not just opinions. So, let's put it all together. How can you implement this in your own work starting tomorrow? Here's a simple 30-day action plan. In the first week, your goal is to centralize and organize. Spend a few days exporting all your feedback from every channel into one place. A spreadsheet or a dedicated tool works great. Then, start the coding process we talked about. Read through the feedback and start tagging it with themes. By the end of the week, you should have a list of your top 5 to 10 problems, prioritized by how frequently they're mentioned. In week 2, it's time to turn those problems into testable hypotheses. For each problem, ask why is this happening, and formulate a statement like we believe that X is happening because of Y. And if we do Z, we will see a change in metric K. This structure forces you to be crystal clear about what you're retesting and what success looks like. During weeks 3 and 4, it's all about execution. Design and run your experiments. This could be an A/B test, a fake door test, or even just a simple prototype you show to a handful of users. While the experiment is running, collect both quantitative data like click-through rates and qualitative feedback. Finally, in the last few days of the month, review your results. Did your hypothesis prove correct? Based on the data, decide whether to roll out the change, iterate on it, or scrap it and move to the next hypothesis. And here's a crucial final step. Close the loop. Send an email or an in-app message to the customers who originally gave you the feedback. Let them know you heard them and tell them what you've changed as a result. This not only provides amazing customer service, but also encourages them to give you high-quality feedback in the future. By following this process, you transform the voice of the customer from a source of noise and confusion into a structured, data-informed system for making better decisions. You stop just listening, and you start solving the right problems. You stop being reactive, and you start being proactive. This is how you build products that people truly love, and how you turn customer feedback into a genuine competitive advantage. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gives you a new framework for thinking about customer feedback. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on building better products. Let me know in the comments how you handle the voice of the customer in your work. I'd love to hear about it. See you in the next one.